In other news, the task force on consumptive utilization of wildlife is set to embark on preparing its report following Monday's deadline for submission of views. Our conservationists say the idea being fronted by the government will allow killing of animals for food and other commercial benefits such as harvesting of skins. Our senior reporter Rita Tinina has been following this very closely, and she now tells us how conservationists are worried that the move will further bring down wildlife numbers and expose communities to diseases from wildlife.
From the king of the jungle, one of the most endangered mammals, the rhino, the largest land mammal, the elephant, to the fastest land animal, the cheetah, Kenya is famed for its wildlife. But now a new proposal on how to utilize some wildlife species has conservationists worried. The consumptive utilization of wildlife under the Wildlife Conservation and Management Act 2013 is now being closely scrutinized.
You can farm butterflies, you can farm ostriches, and you can farm crocodiles under the current law. But this part of the act that the task force is addressing is a different section, which is really about cropping and culling. We're talking about the shooting of probably tens or hundreds of animals.
A 10-member task force to look into consumptive utilization of wildlife was unveiled in April by Tourism Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala, and the timeline for submission of public views on the proposal lapsed on Monday, a process that conservationists are questioning, terming it selective.
All of the meetings that took place were made by personal invitation only. We received them in the form of a WhatsApp or an email invitation.
The task force is meant to look into the impact of allowing consumptive utilization of wildlife, something which was tried and tested in 1990. Cropping and culling of selected species was allowed on allocated quota, but the process was abused with the killing of unauthorized species at more than allocated numbers. Former President Mwai Kibaki banned cropping and culling in 2003.
The country is not ready for any kind of consumptive use of wildlife.
The thinking this time round is that the move will help communities living near game parks and reserves reap the benefits of hosting wildlife on their land, as well as enhance food security.
It's unlikely that they will benefit. The real beneficiaries will probably be the big ranch owners, the people who are already rich, who are already doing a lot of business.
The wildlife population is on a decline. Who is this pushing for us to have game meat? Have we exhausted other channels of sourcing proteins in form of meat in this country? No.
Experts argue the move will expose communities to zoonotic diseases that cross over from wildlife to humans.
The brucellosis, I'm talking about Marburg virus, Ebola virus, yeah? I'm talking about TB from wildlife.
Implementation, they argue, will be a huge challenge for rangers.
How is it okay for me to arrest my fellow Kenyan for poaching a dik-dik to feed his family, and at the same time we're allowing people who have the money to pay for a license to come and kill up to 200 animals to harvest their skins and make a profit from that?
To conservationists, the government should be focusing on other pressing issues affecting communities, such as human-wildlife conflict.
We're losing property, we're losing our crops. That's the number one priority for our communities. Then the communities are not saying we want to eat these animals.
Tourism CS Najib Balala, during the launch of the task force, moved to dispel fears that the introduction of consumptive utilization of wildlife will be a foot in the doorway for hunting. But conservationists are not convinced.
When they started building the railway, they said, don't worry, it will not enter the Nairobi National Park. Today, it is right in the middle of Nairobi National Park. I don't think we can trust that we don't even know what will happen in 10 years from now. So I don't trust it at all.
It is not the first time that the government and conservationists are locking horns. And even before the task force on consumptive utilization of wildlife gets down to analyzing public views, it appears that delicate balance between conservation and consumptive utilization may be hard to find. Rita Tinina, KTN News.